The story kicks off on one of those nights when the sky just won't quit pouring. Rose is out there in the heavy rain, trudging her way home with this tense look on her face. Before she even steps inside her own place, she double-checks the building next door, locking it up with what seems like a ridiculous number of bolts. It's obvious there's something inside she doesn't want anyone messing with, some secret she's keeping locked tight. When she finally goes into her own house, things feel way warmer. Her little girl, Maisie, is in the kitchen, busy decorating a cake. It's easy to tell this isn't just any cake, it's for someone important. She lights a candle, humming to herself, trying to make it look perfect. Then we see who it's for. Her dad, sitting silently in a wheelchair. He can't move, can't talk, can't even react much. He just sits there, completely dependent on Rose for everything. She gives him injections every day to keep him alive, something she handles like it's just part of the routine now. Maisie, though, she's full of excitement. She blows out the candle on the cake for her dad, clapping her hands like it's the happiest moment of the day. Then she places gifts on his lap, smiling wide, snapping a photo of the two of them together so they can pretend it's a real birthday celebration. She even feeds him some cake and makes sure he gets his medicine, treating him with so much love it's kind of heartbreaking. Loud, desperate knocking interrupts everything. Rose freezes. On the other side of the door, a man is practically begging for help. He says his brother's been in a terrible accident, badly injured, and they need assistance right away. Rose doesn't want to get involved. You can tell she's the cautious type, but Maisie keeps pleading with her until she gives in. Two men come in. One's clearly hurt. This is Jack. The other introduces himself as Matty, the brother. Rose immediately checks Jack's injuries and tells Matty he really needs a hospital. But he shakes his head. The storm outside is too bad. Roads are blocked. They can't make it. So Rose, reluctantly, patches Jack up right there on the dining table. Maisie watches, nervous, but helping however she can. While Rose stitches the wound, Matty keeps talking, telling Rose they're from London, in town to meet a friend who owns a boat. He doesn't say much more, like he's leaving out a big chunk of the story. Jack, still groggy but conscious now, mentions they were supposed to let their people know they were safe. Rose tells them straight, there's no signal out here, no cell phones either. The only option is some old phone booth miles away, and there's no way she's going there until morning with the weather this bad. Matty excuses himself to wash up in the bathroom and quietly hides a knife in his sock before returning. That little move makes it clear something's off with these guys. Back at the table, Rose offers them soup Maisie made. She's got that motherly instinct, always trying to be kind even when she's suspicious. Over dinner, Jack keeps asking about the phone, looking restless. Then he asks to use the bathroom. While in there, he realizes they grabbed the wrong bag from their wrecked car. Suddenly things click. These brothers aren't just unlucky travelers. They were involved in something illegal. The right bag, full of stolen cash, is still sitting out there in the crashed vehicle. Jack quickly asks Rose if she could drive him back to the site. To make it sound urgent, Matty starts yelling, pretending he left important belongings behind. Rose doesn't like it, but finally agrees on one condition. Matty stays locked in a room. She's not leaving Maisie alone in the house with a stranger running loose. After Rose and Jack leave, Maisie talks to Matty through the door. This is actually the first real conversation she's had with anyone besides her mom. Slowly, she begins to trust him. Eventually, she even unlocks the door. Matty wanders upstairs, curious, and finds a room with the door locked. Maisie quickly tells him that's her mom's workshop and nobody is allowed in there. Meanwhile, in the car, Jack thanks Rose for helping and guesses she must be a nurse. She corrects him. She used to be an anesthetist. He asks about her husband, and she shares that he ended up like this after a terrible accident. Then, almost in passing, she mentions she also lost her son, which explains the sadness in her eyes every time she looks at Maisie. At the crash site, Jack tells her to wait while he grabs the money bag. But Rose notices something horrifying, a dead man slumped inside the wrecked car. Before she can even react properly, Jack whirls around with a gun in his hand, forcing her to drive to that phone booth so he can call his partner. At the booth, Jack warns her not to say a word about the body. He admits he's done things she wouldn't believe. But Rose doesn't even flinch. She tells him flat out, he has no clue what she's been through. Back at the house, Maisie is showing Matty her most treasured possessions, little keepsakes, maps she uses to imagine traveling the world one day. It's innocent and sweet, a total contrast to the storm of secrets brewing downstairs. On the phone, Jack talks to his boss, who is furious. Turns out the dead guy in the car, that was the boss's son. But Jack lies, saying the kid is alive to buy himself some time. Rose quietly grabs a tool, maybe planning to defend herself, but Jack catches her. He warns her the boss won't forgive anyone if he finds out the truth. Rose just stares back, completely unshaken. Upstairs, things between Maddie and Maisie feel almost friendly until a news report crackles on the radio. It announces 3 men wanted for a violent robbery in East London. Maddie and Jack are on the list. Maddie panics, fumbling to shut it off, mumbling excuses about how things weren't what they seemed. Maisie, scared but still kind, tells him to go back to his room before her mom returns. Then Rose and Jack come back. The mood shifts fast. Jack shoves Maisie toward the room where Maddie was locked earlier, waving the gun around, forcing everyone to do what he says. Suddenly, headlights sweep across the windows. A police car. Jack tenses up. He hides Maisie and Maddie in the room, locks it, and orders Rose to act normal. The officer steps inside, dripping wet, saying there's a manhunt going on in the area. Rose tries to keep her cool, but her husband, sitting in his wheelchair, keeps staring at the cop like he's trying to say something. The officer notices a family photo on the wall. Rose, Maisie, and her husband. But the husband's image looks oddly cut off. Then the man in the chair starts struggling like he wants to speak. Rose quickly covers, saying he always acts like this when he's late for his medication. But the cop doesn't look entirely convinced. The cop is just about to head out the door when he suddenly pauses, frowning. His eyes land on a photo hanging on the wall, a little girl's picture. It takes him a second, but then he recognizes the face. It's the same missing child from a case years ago. A girl named Maisie whose whole family mysteriously vanished without a trace. Before Rose can say anything, before the officer can even process the thought completely, Jack comes out of nowhere. He swings hard, catching the cop off guard, and chaos explodes inside the house. Gunshots echo, fists fly, furniture crashes to the floor. It's total mayhem. Upstairs, locked in the room, Maddie can hear everything. The grunts, the gunfire, the shouting. He bangs on the door, panicked, but before he could do much, Maisie suddenly smashes a vase over his head, knocking him unconscious for a moment so she can run out. Downstairs, the policeman manages to get the upper hand on Jack, wrestling him to the floor. But then his eyes land on Maisie, standing frozen in the hallway, and confusion crosses his face. Something clicks, the resemblance, the missing child report, the uneasy feeling about Rose. It all crashes together in his head. And that's when Rose makes her move. Without hesitation, she raises a gun and shoots the cop point blank. He drops instantly. Maisie screams, stunned, not able to understand why her mother, her loving, careful, always protective mother, just killed a police officer in cold blood. But Rose doesn't waste time explaining. She injects pee with his medication after Maisie swears she heard him try to speak. Rose barely reacts, staying focused like she's done this sort of thing before. The rest of the night turns darker. Rose drags Jack and Maddie down into the basement, locking them up tight. Then, step by step, she scrubs the house clean, wiping fingerprints, moving furniture, mopping blood. When Maisie hesitates, Rose tells her the same thing she always does. The police can't be trusted. Nobody out there is good. Only her. It's the kind of reassurance Maisie has heard so many times before she doesn't even question it. Then Rose stages the cop's body at the crash site, scattering things around to make it look like he was killed during some gang shootout. To any investigator, it will look like the brothers were behind it. But down in the basement, Jack and Maddie aren't giving up. They break free from their cuffs, slipping out through another door into the cold night. Maddie begs Jack to forget the cursed house, leave the money, and run far away. But Jack refuses. That bag of cash is all he cares about now. The brothers start fighting, words turning into shoves, shoves turning into fists. Maddie's emotions are everywhere. Rage, grief, confusion. And Jack, cold and ruthless, throws it all back in his face. He spits out the cruel reminder that their own mother abandoned them because she couldn't deal with Maddie's unstable mind. Then Jack orders him to wait in the barn like a disobedient kid. Jack sneaks back into the house, slipping through a window into Rose's locked workshop. What he sees inside freezes him. There's a secret room, wires, monitors, the faint buzz of electricity. And on a bed lies a woman, both legs gone, strapped down, surrounded by cameras feeding live footage to the screens on the walls. Jack pieces it together fast. This is P's wife, the real mother of the girl they call Maisie. She's been alive this whole time, trapped here like an animal, while Rose raised Maisie as her own. Old newspaper clippings on the walls confirm it. The missing family, the little girl named Jenny, her real name, not Maisie. The crash years ago, the disappearance, everything Rose kept hidden. When Jack tries to free the woman, she grabs his hand. Her voice shakes as she begs him not to save her, but to end it. She doesn't want to live like this anymore. Jack hesitates. He doesn't want to be a killer. But eventually, with a trembling hand, he presses a pillow over her face. It's the only mercy left to give her. Outside, Rose sees her sheep scattering in the field. She realizes the brothers are out. She grabs her gun and heads to the barn, finding Maddie alone. But instead of killing him like he expects, she lowers the weapon. Her voice softens. She tells him he reminds her of her dead son, that she can be the mother he lost. Maddie, broken and desperate for any kind of love, accepts. From that moment, he sees Rose not as a captor, but as family. Meanwhile, Jack slips back inside, snatches up the bag of money, and grabs Maisie by the arm. She struggles until he blurts out the truth. Rose isn't her real mother. Her name isn't even Maisie. It's Jenny. Years ago, after the car crash that killed Rose's husband and son, Rose took Jenny and P, building this fake little family out of the ruins of two real ones. Jack shoves photos and a necklace into Jenny's hands. Memories start to flicker behind her eyes. Flashes of her real parents, her real home. Outside, headlights approach. Jack's boss, Mac, has found the crash site. He's coming. Jack tells Jenny to help her father toward the car while he searches for Maddie. But the barn is empty. When Jack finally finds him, Maddie stands at the top of the stairs beside Rose. He looks down at his brother and says quietly he's staying here with his new mother. Jack barely has time to react before Rose raises her gun and fires. The bullet grazes his neck. He dives for cover as Rose twists Maddie's mind further, telling him Jack never cared about him, never loved him. Jack yells back that Jenny has seen the workshop, knows the truth. But Rose just keeps pushing Maddie, feeding his anger. Jack tackles Rose, wrestles the gun from her hands, ready to finish this nightmare. But Maddie charges, slamming Jack to the ground and beating him down with blind fury. When it's over, he lifts Rose back to her feet like a loyal son. Jenny helps Jack stumble to the car. They just want to escape. But Rose follows with her gun, calling after Jenny, saying she's the only one who ever raised her, the only one who ever loved her. Before she can reach them, Mac arrives, shouting for Jack and Maddie. Jack pushes the car keys into Jenny's hands, telling her to drive her father away while he faces Mac. It goes bad instantly. Mac demands his money, demands the truth about his son. Jack lies, blaming Rose. But Mac already knows Jack and Maddie were behind it. He beats Jack until he's barely standing, shoots him in the leg, then calls Maddie out. Rose watches coldly, telling Mac he can have the money, even Jack, but Maddie stays with her. Violence erupts. Jack, bleeding and cornered, stabs Mac in the leg. Rose picks up a gun and shoots Mac in the head. One of Mac's men attacks in rage, nearly killing her and Maddie both, until Jenny suddenly drives a car straight at him, knocking him aside. She helps her father inside and speeds away, leaving Rose, Maddie, and Jack sprawled unconscious behind her. Later, wrapped in a blanket, Jenny listens as a policewoman promises her that P will live and that they'll find Rose. But the final scene twists the knife one last time. Somewhere far away, in another isolated house, Rose sits at a dinner table with her new son, Maddie. On the screen of a CCTV monitor, Jack is strapped to a bed, both legs gone, trapped just like Jenny's real mother once was. Rose smiles faintly. The cycle begins again.